Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. I'm Stephen King. We come to you from the locker room today here on the campus of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, where we're going to be talking some men's basketball with head coach Willis Wilson, men's cross country with the director of track and field cross country, Shawn Flanagan. We also have special features focusing on Islander men's basketball and their life as student athletes on the academic end. That's all coming your way momentarily. But right now we are joined by the head coach of men's basketball, Coach Willis Wilson. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Very good. The season is coming up. We're right here now. We are right here. Do you want to hurry up and just get this thing started? Or if it were up to you, would you want to get maybe a couple more weeks of practice? And, practice makes perfect. Can't have enough practice.
Coaches can be a little bit fickle. The answer to that question is yes and no.
Okay.
I think our guys are anxious to play against somebody else, and I think that's the point where you learn the most about your team. But in terms of overall preparation, I think from a coaching standpoint, you can never have enough time. We have a great deal of our system in, and our young guys have done a nice job of picking up things and learning as we go along, but there's going to be a learning curve throughout the season, and the one thing that I've learned over the years is that the best way to figure out where you are and who you are is to play basketball games, and I think this will be another example of that.
No doubt. Now, after the final horn of the final game of the College Invitational Tournament at Lafayette last year, what list of goals did you set in your mind, or at least the number one goal that you wanted to accomplish as you prepared for this upcoming season?
Well, I don't know that the end of last year really changed the goals that I have for this program. We want to be a mid-major breakthrough. I think nationally, on a national level, we've developed a reputation over the last 3 years of a program that can contend, that competes, that plays hard. I think you're going to find a lot of positive things that are floating around out there in the basketball scene about Islander basketball. The truth of the matter is we have yet to make that breakthrough. Our goal is to make that NCAA tournament. Our goal is to become a mid-major breakthrough by repeating that task. For us to reach that goal, we got to get there the first time, and then we've got to be able to do it on a consistent basis. And so the second the season ended last year, I guess we just really renewed ourselves to what we've come here to do as a basketball program.
With the season coming up and the games getting ready to start looking at the game itself. Now, every year the game is tweaked with some additions of rules or elimination of others along the way. What are some of the new points of emphasis that referees are going to be looking for this season, and how are you preparing your team for these types of changes?
There were a number of things last year where the officials did a much better job. I think the freedom of movement over the last few years on the perimeter has really been good. Things of that nature, really allowing the offense to score and wanting to make it more of a skill game. I really like those concepts. I think they're going to really try to dial in on making this a much more free-flowing basketball game where skill is rewarded as opposed to strength. I think the first place to look is in the post. They're going to really try to do a good job. They've done a pretty good job on the perimeter. The post offense and defense has to be brought up, and I think what we're going to see is more double fouls in the post. We're going to see maybe some things that the fans frankly don't understand with defenders being allowed to protect themselves in the post. That means they're going to be allowed to play with an arm bar in the offensive player's back, which is contact, but there are ways that they're going to adjudicate those things and things that they call mechanics that they're looking for. As long as players understand that, I think the game will flow a lot more freely, and I think we'll see a better basketball game. I really like the direction that things are headed with officiating. I'm not sure that I love all officials just yet, but we're going in the right direction.
You had a great feature last month on your extremely talented incoming freshman class, but in my opinion, one of the things that can undermine talent is lack of chemistry. Can you coach chemistry, or is that something strictly organic for the players?
I think everything can be coached to a degree. I think every team, every individual has a window, and you can hit the top of your window, and you're just not going to go any higher. It's hard to coach around bad chemistry. Mm-hmm. You can coach to good chemistry, and I don't know if that exactly answers your question, but I think we have a lot of buy-in. I think we're a little bit different than we were a year ago, and we were more different last year than previous years. But I think the significance of why we're so different this year is we have veteran guys that have been through the program for 4 years and been successful. And so the positive traditions that we've been able to establish and the expectation for being success is a big part of it. And then we have this clean slate of young guys that we can really shape and mold for what we're trying to accomplish. And I think because they're so willing to follow, and because we have this foundation to look back and say, hey, we've been to postseason 3 years in a row. The young guys coming in, they really respect that, and they're able to really gravitate toward the things that we try to do to champion our cause. And I also think that great leadership and just transparency goes a long way toward helping create good chemistry. And I think most teams have good chemistry now. It's when you lose a game or you run into some sort of adversity during the season, that's when your chemistry is really challenged.
One more question for you, Coach. One of the most electrifying players on the roster for your team is junior Ehab Amin. Fans kind of get on the edge of their seat when he takes the floor because he's always up to something interesting. Now, his aggression and passion are the calling cards on the court. How do you help him enhance that instinctual nature that he has? And how do you make it work for your team?
Well, I think you have to let him be who he is. You have to allow him to play with that same level of aggression. I think the hardest thing for Ehab this year, at least coming in my mind, was making that transition from being kind of an everything reckless guy that plays with abandon, that creates that excitement that you just mentioned, to going to a guy that can run our basketball team over a 40-minute game over a full season. He's made that adjustment extremely well so far, and part of what we have to see and continue to see out of him is just maturity, growth as a mature leader, a guy that can play his game but also play for others, and that's tough to do, but he's done a pretty good job of it so far. Been really pleasantly surprised.
Well, it should be an exciting time, and we're right up upon it, as I mentioned before. Coach, good luck.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Coach Willis Wilson joining us here in the locker room. Hey, at this time, let's send it out to Shelby Hodges and an Islanders update.
Thanks, Stephen. I'm back at the Dugan Wellness Center on the campus of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, where the men's and women's basketball teams had their annual Islanders Invasion held on October 25th. It was a night full of giveaways, three-point shooting contests, and a lot of basketball, as fans got to meet their new teams.
You know what, it's always nice to get in front of the fans. Islander Invasion is a fun event. The players get excited about it, both the men's and women's teams. The fans get excited about it. I think tonight, just having the opportunity to play and get up and down the floor was really good for our program. It gave our young guys a chance to play in front of an audience, in front of a crowd, maybe get some of those jitters out.
It's always a thrill coming out here in front of the student body and everyone else, just to get out for the first time this season, and really for a lot of our freshmen, it was really exciting to have them come out in front of the fans for their first time. But for me, it's something that never gets old, because it's something that always kicks off our season and tries to get us going with the right momentum.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great chemistry. You know, we've all been here for a while, and we have really good relationships, even with the guys on the green. But, you know, the guys on the green, they're green. You know, they're just getting used to it. They're just getting the feel for things. So, you know, we had a huge advantage over them in that sense. But they'll get there, and I thought we looked pretty good today.
But we needed to put our young players in this atmosphere. They needed to get into Dugan, and they needed to have fans in the stands. They need to see the electricity that comes when you play in front of your home crowd. We got that tonight. They got a little bit of a taste of what it's going to be like during the season, so hopefully we can build from there.
It was exciting. It was fun to actually get out here in front of everyone and finally get to play and show everybody what we have this year. I think they handled it well. I feel like it was a lot of pressure for some of them. It was the first time playing in front of a lot of people, but I think they handled it very well. We have a lot of things to work on team-wise. Our defense, we need to work on a little, and we just need to gel more and play as a team, work together, and just fight with each other.
The men's team will have their first exhibition game against Concordia on November 5th, while the women battle Texas A&M International on November 6th. Islanders baseball got back on the diamond in their annual fall series held on October 20th through the 23rd. The Royal team defeated the Navy team in the four-day tournament, but tiebreaker rules had to be used to determine the winner.
You know, I don't know that we could have drawn it up any better. Play 4 games, have it be 2-2, go down to our tiebreaker rules that we put in to break the tie. And, you know, one of them was strikeouts. And I liked what I saw. I thought we really pitched it all weekend. I thought a lot of guys stepped up, swung the bat. Some young guys stepped up and did some good things. So I thought this weekend put a great bow on a good fall for us. this weekend was what I call the lights on. We had some nice crowds every weekend. A ton of families came out to watch, keeping stats. There's stories after every game. And so it's nice to see some of our guys really step their game up. From Nick Anderson today, leading the Royal to the win, to even Dawson Yates had a great fall. Lucas Hermanson had a great fall, and those guys are seniors. They're 4-year guys. You expect them to have a good fall, but it's nice to see, and as we wrap up this fall, as a coach, you're kind of looking for a few of the intangibles. You're looking for leaders in there, guys that are going to line up every day, come through that gate and bring it and make the young guys better. And I think we got the right guys. That's what I'm excited about. For us to get back into the top, 3 or 4 spots in this league, we're going to have to be better on the bases, more aggressive, and I thought we set that standard this fall. So I'm excited about it. It's we got 5 more weeks with these guys to work on some individual stuff. That'll take us to the holidays. We'll get away from it, and then before you know it, it'll be baseball season in late January.
The team will be back in February, and they have their sights set on the Southland Conference Tournament. When we return, Stephen King will be joined by the Director of Cross Country and Track and Field, Shawn Flanagan. More to come on Islanders Insider.
The Southland Conference.
4,200 student athletes
from across the country
and around the world, representing 13 member institutions
from Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana,
excelling in 17 NCAA Division I sports
in the classroom and in our communities.
We are Southland Strong.
Evans Glass Service for all of your auto, residential, and commercial glass needs. We offer tinting for the windows on your vehicle and home, and we also service commercial properties, block the heat, and protect your interior from harmful UV rays. Plus, improve the style and privacy of your car, home, or office, glass replacement or repair, and window tinting. Free estimates, and we will come to you 24 hours a day. Evans Glass, where we specialize in service.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. Well, we move down the road here to the Dugan Family Track and Soccer Stadium because it's time now to talk with the Director of Track and Field and Cross Country, Shawn Flanagan.
Pleasure to be here, Steve.
Great to have you. Great to have you. What was it like back in the beginning when the late, great Dan Viola convinced you to start a program from scratch? Or did you convince him to hire you? What was it?
Well, I heard that they were going to start the program. This was in 1999. And I was really excited. I came down in about, I came down in March of '97, saw the campus here, reminded me a lot of what it had been like when UTSA had started. So I bided my time, and I heard when they were advertising for the job in the fall of '99, I applied, and Dan got me in. And wow, you sit at your desk on the first day, January 2nd, 2000, and you got no kids on a team, and you got to come up with a team by September, or August actually. So it was an interesting challenge, but it was a lot of fun. For 13 years we didn't have a track. We got used to going over to Cabinets. God bless CCISD, all those fellas over there and ladies letting us use their facilities for just over a decade. They were really, really good to us. But having this facility we have here at the Dugan Track and Soccer Stadium, we hosted the Southland Conference last year. So many teams, coaches told us they thought we should host a meet every year. They said this is the best facility in the Southland Conference by bar none. and we are so blessed to have it here.
So the evolution of the program has been pretty dramatic from the day you started to where we're at today.
Oh, you know, amen. You literally went, I can remember our first Tarpon Fun luncheon we went to. I had one girl had walked into my office that first week and said she wanted to come on out, so I took her to the luncheon. I said, let me introduce you to my track team. Rachel, stand up. And so we've come a long ways from there, where we got over 70 athletes on a team this year.
Steve McBride has come on. He came in on the summer of 2015 to be your head coach of track and field. How has his arrival really enhanced our abilities to produce a higher quality track and field program?
Well, Steve is one thing. Steve is a tremendous recruiter. He's a tremendous promoter. I gave him pretty much carte blanche last year to bring in some kids, and we've got some kids that are really exciting. We got some kids that can really jump. We got over a 7-foot high jumper. We got some really outstanding sprinters, hurdlers, throwers. It's the quality of the program with his recruiting has really done a lot. I think you're going to see us have a lot more success when it comes time to add up the team totals at the outdoor conference meet this year.
Be very interesting. And speaking of conference meets in cross country, you just recently completed the Southern Conference Championships. The men finished 4th, the women 5th overall. It's an improvement from last year, but did they live up to your results?
Well, here's the deal.
Excuse
me. No, in other words, I was hoping for a little bit better result. However, going into it, we had our first and third guy were sick. I mean, we were going up there and went, oh, God, I'll be fine. And it's like, okay, I know that ain't going to happen. And, and those guys had been running really well. Our second guy, Caesar, had a great race. He finished 11th overall. Had we put those two other rascals up with him, Jan and Jordan Wright had excellent races. If they were our 4th and 5th guys instead of our 2nd and 3rd guys, we get a different outcome.
Yeah.
But ifs and buts, candy and nuts, But the deal is that I really feel like we've got a really good team. We've got one more meet, the regional meet. I haven't seen the current ranking. Last week we were ranked 8th in the region. I think that we are going to have some really good success up there. On the women's side, we've got a bunch of freshmen. I brought in 7 freshmen this year. And, the college race is 6,000 meters, which is, for a lot of them, almost twice as far as they run in high school. So to make a long story short, we were in 2nd place with about an 800 meters to finish the race.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking, yeah, because our top 3 were running good 4.5. We were right up there. But then each one of them slid a couple spaces, and geez, by the time we got to the finish line, we were no longer in 2nd, we were in 5th. The point differential was about 11 points. So, we're close, and the guys, had they been healthy, I think we would have had a better result. The girls, hey, we get a little bit more maturity, we finish the race a little better, we're good.
The one thing about it is we keep getting better every year, Coach.
Hey, that's all we can do is try to keep getting better and better.
Shawn Flanagan, Director of Track and Field Cross Country, joining us here. When we come back, we appreciate it, Coach, but when we come back, we have a special feature focusing on Islander men's basketball and their academic studies.
What's stronger than cancer? Still, my name is Vanessa, and that's my last name. When cancer tried to put my life on hold, Chris Spawn helped me to get back in the game. I'm grateful to be getting my cancer care right here, close to home. I'm able to live my life thanks to the amazing support of nurses, doctors, the Portland community, my kids, and my family. Thank you, Chris Spawn, for keeping me close to the things that matter most.
My family has been growing crops here since the late 1800s.
We're Texas farmers through and through, and that's why we love H-E-B. They've been supporting local farms like ours for generations.
And they buy more of our corn than anyone else in Texas.
Over 10 million pounds annually, and they use it to make great products like H-E-B corn chips.
So when you try them, you're eating a little piece of Texas.
We're the Sawdoff family, and this is the locally grown department at H-E-B. No store does more than my H-E-B.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. On our Krista Spahn Health Systems feature segment, we focus on Islander men's basketball and their academic side of their college career.
It's obviously a priority. You know, we're student athletes. The word student does come first, and they make that pretty clear from the get-go.
They do a really good job at making sure that we're on task and checking in with us and making sure that we're meeting with our teachers, our professors, making sure that we are obtaining the necessary grades and that we are pushing ourselves in the classroom, because the ultimate goal is to obtain a degree.
And we define character as being where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it. Toughness is when you're there, whether it's on the court, in the weight room, in class, meeting with a tutor or an SI. Grinding for success, it's huge. It's always been important to Coach Wilson. It's important to our staff, and I think our guys, they know the importance of doing the best they can in the classroom.
You can't have casualties, we call them, which is slacking off in academics. If you don't get your study hall hours, you know, if you don't get to practice, so that's just the way that Coach Wilson runs things, which is the right way.
Tremendous resources here on campus, starting with Jennifer Baker and her department. We work hand in hand with her, but each assistant coach has check-in kids. So guys are checking into our office every day. We talk to them every day about how they're doing with their schoolwork, and so they're getting hit from multiple directions. I think it's one of the reasons that the academic culture here is so special.
Our side of it is student athlete services. The primary focus is on academic success services for the student athletes. So we do a lot of academic monitoring, how they're doing in their classes, making sure that they're going to classes, turning in assignments. If they're struggling, we have a bank of tutors that are available just for the student athletes, as well as learning assistants for students that are really struggling or come into college underprepared. So all of our new students are required with 6 hours of study hall, and then after your first semester, you can have varying hours based on your GPA.
I like to really develop a relationship with my professors, and I like to meet with the SI, so with tutors, if I ever need any help, because I love to ask questions. I love to gain a true understanding of the material that I'm handed.
Well, teachers are great about working with us all the time. We have Ms. Baker and everybody over there at Classroom East to help us out whenever we need it. But there is plenty of resources through athletics that we find that can help us with the academic side of everything. It's all about time management, and that's something that we preach. And especially now, it's not as bad, but when season starts, we got games, we got travel, and people just don't understand how much school we really miss and how much, I guess, learning opportunities that we do miss.
Really, it's just, I just take it out of my social life. It'll be pretty much, if I got a lot of tests or something, I'll just go to the gym and then go work on my homework until, if I have time when I'm finished, then I can like hang out with someone. But if I have to do something, I just spend my time on that and don't waste it.
Primarily, most of our student athletes, 99% of them, are not going to go on and play their sport professionally. So it's very important that they have an academic background, leave here with a college degree and the experience necessary to go out into the workforce in their intended career, so that they'll be accessible.
I would love to play professional basketball, but I'm also not naive, and I realize that business route is probably more my thing. You know, to me, I think it's of the utmost importance, because just everybody's one bad moment away from having to rely on something else for the rest of their life.
Well, after my basketball career is over, I intend to go to medical school and become an orthopedic surgeon.
I'm trying to be an actuary, which is like doing statistics for insurance companies, help them figure out how many times a certain thing's going to happen.
I mean, for the longest time I wanted to coach, wanted to teach, and now I'm working on my master's in education administration.
It helps that we've got a school that can accommodate student athletes in a lot of different directions, whether it's business or engineering or in the sciences or math, whatever it is. You know, we're at an institution that has a lot to offer, so that helps.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. Now let's take a look at what's coming up next in Islanders athletics. During November, Islanders volleyball will face off against Nichols, Lamar, and HBU before heading to the Southland Conference Tournament starting on the 18th. Also this month, men's and women's basketball will get their season started with exhibition games at the Dugan Wellness Center, followed by home openers against Our Lady of the Lake and Toledo. And back to you, Stephen.
Thank you again, Shelby. Also, let's give thanks out to Willis Wilson, head coach of Islander men's basketball, for joining us here today, as well as Shawn Flanagan, the director of track and field and cross country for the Island University. We also want to thank everybody here at the Islander Digital Network for making everything happen today. And of course, most importantly, we want to thank you for tuning in. I'm Stephen King. You've been watching Islanders Insider.
At Navy Army, we're proud of our military roots, but you don't have to be in the military to be proud of where you bank. If you live in South Texas, chances are you can join. Each year, we welcome thousands of new members looking for a better way of banking. So carry that card with confidence, because we take your financial success seriously at Navy Army Community Credit Union. Does your bank do that?
I'm Christy Felice, and I am the Director of Brand Engagement for the Houston Astros. Texas A&M University at Corpus Christi has absolutely helped get me to where I am today, and it is a small campus with large opportunities. You should definitely choose Texas A&M University Corpus Christi.
Named a top Texas university for return on investment. Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Discover your island. Visit us for Island Day at islandday.tamucc.edu.